Did you know there's an item that allows you to change your character's appearance and growth rates? Hey guys, I'm Ronan, welcome to the channel. I just beat the game on expert mode and I am now playing through True Zenorian that you unlock after clearing the game, which is an even harder difficulty. And I have some tips and tricks that the game doesn't really explain well and some things I learned along the way, so I hope you enjoy. Let's start out with combat. So starting out, you can see I have two units here. I have my flyer and I have my wizard here, and we all know that the magic assist for extra damage is pretty powerful, right? Well, there is a way to get unlimited of it. So what I can do, for example, I'm going to go ahead and use an item here, the mantle kit. This thing is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to put it right in front of me. So besides this giving you additional defense, this counts as an actual garrison effect. So no stamina consumption when enemies attack me, there's no wait time, assist damage reduction by 100%, and defense plus 50%. But what's even better is, for those who don't know, if you are on a garrison, so things like the command post, when you capture something like that, you get unlimited assist. So I'm going to move him there, and I'm going to have her come up and attack the guy right in front of me. Now you can see the assist chain here. Magical assist. You can see it's free. Even if I cancel or use it, the number doesn't go down. So as long as he remains in that mantle kit, I will have unlimited assist. This is a great way if you have archers, magical units, or healers to give passive healing as well. Fantastic resource. Definitely something you want to utilize. Tip number 2 for combat is one also related to items or using your valor effects. We know how annoying these guys up here in the watchtowers can be. They give passive healing to their allies. If they're rangers, they can do their arrows, or like my magic unit here, can have unlimited assist damage wise, right? Well, by either using an item here called the bell, the beckoning bell, or beckoning chime, whichever you want to utilize, you could taunt the enemy off so they're no longer going to be on there. Or if you use a valor skill, you have the valor skill provoke, which is also extremely useful, and it's only 1 valor point, so I can use it on her. She will automatically come down from there and start attacking me. This is fantastic because it does work on things like that, which is really strong. That way, if you want to get rid of all those pesky archers and things like that that are going to cover the boss, you now have a way to do it. So I'm going to cancel her movement here to show you. Bam, look, she now comes off. So now when I attack the boss, there's no additional effects that he has from her covering her from up top, which is really nice. So this is something I didn't really utilize until late game when it made more of a difference. And that is going to be rearranging your characters. You can see 81 damage taken to the enemy and 48 damage taken to myself. So when I attack, what if I wanted to change that? So you have the option to do that pretty much every single battle you do. You can go to organize. Now this is great because this is when you can change things around. So maybe I want to have my flyer in the front. So I'll put her up front as well. So there's only one back guard. You can see the damage is the same. Well, what if we move you to the back, the flyer to the back, and put the guard up front? Now you can see how much of a damage difference it is. Not only do I do more damage, but I take less damage. And the reason for that is because the way the game calculates turns. There's a priority system that I will talk about shortly when it comes to your moves, but this is a great way while in combat, if you want to get an edge on the enemy, you can easily switch out equipment and rearrange your characters to add that extra bonus that you need. You can also do something very similar when you go to deploy new units. So I can go ahead and go to deploy. You can take a look at your units ready for battle. And you'll be like, oh, okay, you know, maybe I want a thief lead so I have more movement speed compared to my gladiator, right? So how about we switch him out? So when you go to deploy, you can simply hit deploy, just like you could for the combat. Hit X or whatever button it is on whatever console I'm on the Switch, and I'm going to go ahead and promote him to leader. So now when I go to deploy that combat unit, guess what? It's a thief, and now I'm so much further. You can easily go back though once you go ahead, withdraw, and change as needed. I do want to point out Hasten Call as a fantastic valor ability. To take a look at your items on the hardest difficulty that you unlock after beating the game, you can only use items 5 times per battle. which is pretty significant because it really makes you pick and choose when you want to use your items, right? So instead of using a light feather here to get mobility for 30 seconds, which is huge for caster types like your wizards, warlocks, like any type of infantry unit, you normally, if they're not a thief, have pretty low type of like movement. I can use my Valor skill, Hasten Call, and give it to my ally, and he will have that similar buff that the light feather has, setting him up to move across the battlefield quite hastily and get to where he needs to go. As you can see, he moves really quick. I lied, I have another combat tip here that I do think most people should know. You can see my wizard now has 0 when it comes to stamina, right? You do not need to always wait right away in order to gain the benefit of attacking. When you are in rest mode, by getting your stamina back, you are completely vulnerable to damage, and most likely your characters are going to die, or at least take a lot of damage. I have him parked right in front of the boss, ready to attack at any time, but I don't have any stamina. And because our items are limited on the newest difficulty and also limited in expert mode, you may not want to use an item like smoke nuts or whatever else to get your stamina back. Maybe you don't have enough valor to get any type of stamina back from valor skills either. So what you can do instead, if you have your target close enough to the target you want to fight, or if you just want that target to draw enemies in the fight, you can still do that. One thing I like doing is setting up my partners and then switching out for more damage. And I'll showcase that now. So I can easily swap, and you can see I can still do damage with this character if I wanted. I do have one of my knights currently dead, so the damage isn't as high, but I can still get damage out with this character despite him having 0 stamina when needed. And I do find it to be quite useful, and it's something I use to beat the game a little out of order by accident because I just ended up going a different route than what the game recommended. Most people probably already know this, but once you actually complete deliveries in towns, you can actually station a guard. I would recommend you do this at every single town that you station, because after you do certain battles and side quests in the game, you will actually gain additional resources, which is a great way to stock up. You will know which towns you already have guards stationed at by the blue icon for the house. Yellow icons are ones that don't have anyone stationed, and you can see the station icon in the left hand corner is grayed out. But here I'm at a town where I can station someone and I just haven't yet. Let's go ahead and station someone. This will bring me to my next point. You may, on your playthrough, run out of actual allies to station at towns because there are far more towns, forts, and everything else in between than you have access to characters to. At least named characters. One thing you can do if you needed more people is to simply go to a fort. So let's go to the fort right here to our left, and we'll just go ahead and take a look at what they have, because this will bring up my next point. So if I go to hire someone, you can see at this fort here, I have access to a Griffin Knight, Gladiator, and Soldier, which is fantastic. Griffin Knights are extremely powerful in this game, and Soldiers are a great way to have early access healing when you need it. And this is one that you can gain access to really early in your playthrough, right here on the map. But not every fort is actually equal in ability. Say you needed more defensive utilities here. You could go to this fort, for example, and hire someone like a shaman. So make sure when you're checking forts out, even if you don't plan to hire anyone, if you need extra people to station at your town, so you can hire that way. But you never know, you might run into some classes that you want for your team. Are you looking to build your teams up? One of the best ways to decide if your team is actually going to do things the way you want is to simply test it. So if we take a look at the mock battles, that is one easy way you can do it. You can put your team up against another, like so. And you can see how the outcome comes out. You can see how skills are activated, how they're activated in order, why they're activated, and all kinds of different things. And you can learn a lot about your team, weaknesses, strengths, and everything else in between. You could also do this at the Coliseum, though you can easily do it as a mock battle really early on as well. This now leads us to the priority system and setting up your abilities correctly for how you want your units to actually do stuff in combat. If you saw my mock battle section, it's a great way to test things out, but I do want to point out some things here that are pretty useful. So if we take a look at our good old Dami Mami here, she is one of the best characters in the game. I love this character. But take a look at her skills. She has a skill called Eye of the Warrior Princess. Activates at the start of battle and you can see it's limited, meaning it can only activate once, and it activates at the start of battle. So that's significant to know because there are other classes that have abilities that start at the start of combat, right? So a good example for that is going to be my good old main character, Elaine. If you take a look at his abilities, let's go ahead and add a tactic here. He has Rapid Order, activates at the start of battle, grants all allies plus 20 initiative. These two will not stack whatsoever. Let's go ahead and add that on. And just to showcase my point, we'll take a look at my thief as well. And I'll go ahead and add his ability Sneaking Edge. So all of these are going to start at combat. The way the system decides who goes first at the start of the battle, I believe is going to be initiative based. So let's go ahead and do a mock battle, for example. So you can see I did my attack at the very start, and because of that, none of my other start abilities will actually happen. And because the thief had higher initiative than my other characters, he did the attack first. Alright, so let's go ahead and take a look at some healers then, because I think healers can definitely waste their turns depending on how you have things set up. So let's take a look at Scarlet, which I'm sure everyone is probably going to end up saving. There is actually an evil ending if you don't, but go ahead and take a look at your different things. So I have the Lyrical Wand here, which is a very powerful wand. You have Active Heal. It costs 2, and it will heal moderate HP to an ally and grants them +1 AP, cannot target self. So what I like doing for this is setting up my heals to be HP based. So I do target HP, and I always choose HP here because this is going to be for basically not yourself, because you have your own HP category. So go to HP and you can choose when you want to heal them. Maybe you want it less than 50%. I usually go less than 75 just because I do find that on the harder difficulties, some enemies can definitely hit harder than you may think. That's one way you can do it. You have other things like Curring Call. Also restores minor HP to a row of allies and removes all targets debuffs. So you can choose a bunch of different ways to do this. You can do target HP is less than 100%, meaning it will just proc pretty much right away. The difference here is if they're at lower HP, target HP is 75%, then that one will proc instead. But maybe you don't want it done like that. Maybe you want it prioritized debuff, so it will only happen if, you know, someone is already debuffed. There's a bunch of different ways you can categorize things, and you can actually rearrange things as well. So I can go ahead and hit the Y button and move this up top. So this priority system does matter. You have conditions you can put on them as well. So for healers, I always do target HP, some type of 75% or below, because I don't want to waste my heals. And depending on their other abilities, I may put it on debuffs or not. Thieves. Thieves have a ton of really great abilities, but you definitely want to use them the way you want. So for Travis, for example, once you upgrade him to Rogue and unlock some really good abilities, you get some really cool things. So Shadow Bite, without a doubt, is probably one of the strongest abilities in the game. This will attack a row of enemies, inflicts initiative -20, evasion -20, and blindness. The reason why this is so strong because there is an ability called True Strike in game that will make your attacks automatically hit, right? Blindness overrides that. This Shadow Bite thing is amazing, especially if you have it for any type of like arrow user. So one thing you can do is prioritize certain different things. So you can say I already have Rose with 2+ combatants because it feels like a waste to only use it on one character, and I could do something else instead. So you could do something like Archer's Present and choose it that way. You could choose it to go with prioritizing things, whatever you want. But just know Shadow Bite is very strong. But let's take a look at the other skills. So you have Active Steal, which steals the active point, which is like their main attack abilities. But it comes that if they are guarding the first hit, then nothing really happens. And it's a waste of a skill, especially because it costs 2 in order to activate it. So I have it on Prioritize Debuffed and Casters usually, because if that's the case, then he will definitely open up on them and will most likely get the steal without any issues. Another thing you could end up doing too, if you want to make sure you never waste this, you can easily set it by going things for guard seal and things like that. You have also like no armored present because you know they're going to guard. All kinds of different things you can do to set it up. Now, Toxic Throw I really like because armored units are really high in HP usually. Well, Poison is percentage based, so Toxic Throw I have prioritized armored, and because angels are really annoying with dodging, I usually have it prioritize angels as well. That way with his high accuracy, he more than likely hits them. And then the final skill for him, because it's all the way at the bottom, is Passive Steal. This is, you can just, put it any way you want. It's going to be up to you. But that's basically an easy way to customize characters. And for one of the final tips and tricks I have for this video, it's going to be talking about the black market guy here. You can find him in pretty much every region, and depending on what region you are in, he has better things. So for example, in the first region, he appears here on the map. Normally you have to do some of the garrison battles and other things to get some territory before you'll actually be able to use him. And he only trades with you at night, but he has some amazing items. In every area you go to, the items change, and in my opinion, they're better with the later game areas you go to. But he has some really great things, and there is one item in particular that I really want to point out, the Idealist Hand Mirror. This is probably the best item in the game you can possibly get, especially when you have the extra gold for it. This thing is so good, and here's why. So right now his blue and everything looks pretty good. So we could change the hair, like the base here, any kind of color I want, which is pretty dang cool. He's got some really nice looking ones. Let's go ahead and make him like a golden knight, shall we? So we'll go with like red. I think red and gold looks really good. Base hair color, I'm going to change my hair color to be any hair color that I want. So this is a great way to customize your characters as well, which I think is pretty fun. So I'll go with red as well. And then the armor, ooh, black and red looks really cool. But then you could go to like gold. And then accent color, some characters have accents, some don't. You'll be able to see it when you use it. But here's the main reason to use it. The growth types. You can see you have 2 different growth types you can choose. So I can go all-rounder, go guardian, and you can see as I change, you can look at my stats. My stats are going to change with the type of thing that I do. And there's different things that you can do. Maybe you want him to be super defensive because he's already a really good tank, right? So you can do like defensive guardian, get more guard rate, physical defense, magic defense, and things like that. I could go defensive to get double up. Or maybe you want a more offensive. So I can go offensive and precise, get extra attack, crit, and initiative. This is a great way to customize your characters even more. You can use this, I think, pretty much in every character. I haven't found a character at all that you can't use it for. And that concludes the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please like and subscribe, as I will be covering more Unicorn Overlord content. If you want to become a member and get shoutouts like all my members here, hit join down below. You'll get early access to my videos and some additional perks for when I do live stream. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you guys for being a member.